Welcome to our Omid Yom Shir. We're following the Dirsha cycle, so we are now in Shabbos Daf Pei Omid Beis. We're going to learn today more about the Itzah, and we're going to learn a lot about hair removal in the times of the Gemara. Tonu Abonon, Hamoitzi Se'ar Kidei Legabel Bo Isatit. Person takes out hair on Shabbos, a bunch of hair. How much hair are you chayiv if you took out hair on Shabbos? Well, the hair, the main use for hair, back then at least, would be a legabel to mix it with cement. Apparently, it was very good for cement when it's mixed with hair. It does the trick, it does the job. Ask the kablanim, I don't know. And that's the amount that you chayiv if you took out hair, the amount to mix up with tit. How much tit? I guess that we're going to see now. Tit, how much tit, how much cement, or like mud that's meant for building, like today's cement, how much tit is normally taken out. Laso spiku shel tzofei zohov. In order to make the peh, again, it's this round mouthpiece that's that's perforated in the furnace. Now that furnace is a special furnace for tzor fizor, for goldsmiths. Goldsmiths, they have their own, I guess, kind of kivshan, their own pool, and there you have a hole. That hole is covered on all sides, like a rim is made out of tit. And that's the amount of tit which is worthwhile to keep, to store, and to take out. So the hair for that tit and the tit for that piece. Kedei losud. Oh, seed kedei losud. That's going to be now the star of the show for a long time in the Omud. How much seed? Seed is plaster. I mean the plaster, not the plaster on the wound. On the wall, right? You have a coating of plaster, seed, right? The white stuff. It's acidy. Spachtel, I don't know all these terms, but yeah. In other words, it's something acidy, it's strong, use it to paint the walls, before the paint, and also it has the quality to remove hair. And we saw in the Mishnah 3 opinions regarding the shiur of seed. The first opinion we're going to discuss now, seed kedei losud ktana shebabonois. The youngest girl, or the youngest girl who's normal, in her age already, it's normal to remove hair, or sometimes they would put seed to remove hair, or to make the flesh, the skin look redder, more like red, more ruddy and nicer, more gentle sometimes. Rashi says different lashonos, something for the cosmetics of the women that would be used, they would use seed, the plaster for that, like lime plaster, Tana, the small finger, in other words, they would use it for the entire body in order to make it nice and red. And even though hair doesn't grow on the fingers by girls, Rashi says just to make it nice and ruddy, like red and nice and looking. And for that, even the smallest finger of the younger girl of the age when it's normal to do it, we're going to see later the age, but basically, that amount of seed is something that was normally stored and taken out on Shabbos, taken out in general. So that's the amount you're chayav on. The smallest shear, which is normal, is 1 finger. I guess the pinky of a girl. It's 1 aver. It's 1 organ of the young girl, of the smallest girl. Oh, that you put it here in order, you put the seed so to make her look nicer, brighter, and that's the amount you chayav on. That's the first opinion of Tanakama. Then I'm going to see 2 more. Amar Vidom Rav. So what does that mean? Means, according to Rashi, they look older than they are. They're early bloomers. They already have shtei sairos. But Rashi in Psochim says they have hair in all parts of the body, but they're younger than the other girls, and they're ashamed of it. They look like they're 14, well, really they're 10. So they want to remove the hair because they don't want to look different to everybody else. Summertime, they go to the swimming pool, they look funny. So what do you do then? You want to remove the hair. That's Rashi. Tosfos says something else. Let's look at Tosfos inside. Tosfos said the second Tosfos, shegiu lepirkan velo egiu, pirush besomuch lepirkan shekroves leinose. They're about to get married. They do that in order to find a good shidduch. The girl is in shidduchim, she has to look, she goes out on dates, And according to this, we have some musar idea, or halacha even. Tosfos says, we see in Ksubas, you want to have good shidduch for your daughter, she has to look good, you have to let her drink milk and feed her like fine meat of the froichim, like young chicken. She has to look good in shidduchim, and therefore you have to make sure also she removes her hair from unwanted places. Today it's a whole industry. Yes. So back then apparently it was also a common thing. How do you do that? B'nai sanim toiflas oisen besid. The poor girls, the girls of the poor people, they would be tofel. Tofel is like to add. They would like to smear, like tfela. They would smear the bodies with seed. That's what we're talking about all the time, the plaster, the lime. That's a normal accepted way. It may not be so, it's acidy, not so nice, but that's what the anim can afford. And the Mishnah spoke about anim. The Ritva says in Daf and Dal Mudalef that most people are called anim. Sometimes talk about the extra oni person. Sometimes the oni means the regular guy. So that's the beginning of Daf and Dal Mudalef. Benoit Hashirim, the fancy girls, the Japs, the daughters of the rich people, Totzlas Oisan Besoilis. They would remove the hair with soilis, with like fine flour. Fine flour, not flour, Flour. Yeah, when you use for the dough, there will be tofu, some kind of like dough with the flour. That's what they would do. Benois Malachim tofu sosan b'shemen amo. The Benois Malachim, the princesses, the real mamish, the Beverly Hills girls, yeah. So they would smear themselves with shemen hamo, with good shemen, which is shemen hamo. What shemen hamo? Type of oil. Who did that? No other than Esther Malka, the ultimate queen. Shenemar Shisha Chadoshim B'Shem Amo. All the girls that were contenders for Chashverosh for 6 months, they would get the Shem Amor treatment, and that was there's two purposes. We keep talking in the Rishonim that to remove hair and also make the skin look nicer, redder, more like fresh, more young, yeah, things like that. My Shem Amo. What's a Shem Amo exactly? It's very nice. It's a posuk, but what does it mean? Ravuna Barachia Amar Sitchas. Sitchas, I saw in the Rishonim, they say either means like fragrant oil, with good fragrance, and some say balsam. Balsam, that's what's called B-A-L-S-A-M, right? Yeah, some kind of nice oil that smells very nice, but apparently also has the tchuna of removing the hair. It's a shemen zayis. We all know about olive oil. That's a special olive oil which is stronger because the zaysim, the olives it's taken from, they only got just below a third of the entire growth. Yeah, let's say the potential growth of the zayis is, let's say this big, they got that big, only about a third, even less than third. Dafka, because they're boser, they're unripe, they're stronger and more acidy, they're dafka younger, and they can remove the hair better and make the skin look dafka, they conquer the skin, so to speak, and they make it, not look better. Now, I don't know what the halacha l'maisa is over here, halacha l'maisa, but l'maisa, I think maybe that could be an afkamina. Maybe I'm saying my own idea now. I haven't seen it in the Rishonim. Could be that for the rich girl, or the whole rich society, the whole town, they only use let's say soilus. So for them to take soilus for the finger is the amount. Mashenki for the poor girls, it's not. Could be makes a difference halacha for Shabbos. I would say makes sense. For the poor girls, it's seed. But for a rich girl, not the upper middle class, let's say soilus is what she uses for the one finger to remove the hair. So for that to take out soilus, that would be the amount. I mentioned. Unless you say soilus is for food, it's gogeres, I don't know. Just an idea, because I haven't seen here much that they say. Tanya Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Anpiknon, there is a shemen called Anpiknon. What is it? Shemen zayis shaloi v'yashlish. As we said, it's olive oil of olives that did not yet grow up to a third of the growth. By the way, know that a third of the growth halachically makes a big difference, because for certain types of grains for sure, that a third is like chanota. That's what it's chai b'maisa. Let's say chita v'soyer, they arrived at a third of the growth in shmita, then they're called shmita. Or for other years of maisa, a third of the growth is very significant in halacha. So apparently, also scientifically, just below a third is a different stage in the growth, and it's good for the skin. Now, why do they smear it on the body? Why do they anoint themselves with that oil? Shemeshir as I told you, double purpose. What's meishir? It removes the hair. Also, it makes the flesh, the skin, much smoother, nicer, and it's nice for a girl, especially she wants to get married and she needs that. Story time. Rav Bevai Havi Lebarta. Rav Bevai had a daughter. Tafla Ever. He had her done the tefela. In other words, he had her going through that hair removal treatment, one organ by the other. Yeah, she did the arms, then the legs, the feet, whatever. Yeah. Shokal Badalid Mois Zuzi. She was really about to get married. You know how much she got? She got 400 zuz as the dowry. In other words, Rashi says something very nice. It wasn't for the money. Shenisyapa v'kofzu oleh mehugonin lo. In other words, she was so beautiful because she had the treatment of the hair removal that she got the chosin she really wanted, the mehugan. Not stomach guys looking for beauty. She got the chosin that she really, somebody that's up to her level. Yeah, she got somebody up to her level because if she had ugly hair, nobody would look at her, even the good boys. She managed to get a good boy because she was so beautiful. And the good boy even gave her or her father, according to now the years of 400 zuz. Wow. Now, second part of the story. There was a guy in his neighborhood that he had, or Bevai had a goyish neighbor, and he wanted to imitate him. He wanted to basically copy him. This guy also had a daughter, also in Shidduchim. Tafla bechad zimna. He did that treatment in one go. The entire body, boom, in one go. Yeah, he gave the entire body. He would smear, or whoever that was, with a cement, with a seed in one go. The mason, she died. His daughter died because he did it wrong. Omar, so what did the guy say? Kotal Rabbi Lebarti. He said, Rabbi killed my daughter. Yeah, today what he would have done, he would have the poster and go online and make all of Ghana in Harvard, right? The rabbi killed my daughter. That would go very, very well, right? In the newspapers, the rabbi killed my daughter. No, it's very media style. So Omar Nachman, so not why obviously he was wrong because he did it the wrong way. He didn't know how to do it. Rabbi Vai did it one over, one by the other. The guy did it in an extreme way, all in one go. Too much for her. So much seed. So Mimela, she died. Now Omar of Nachman. Nachman is giving us another piece of advice how our daughters can look better. Rabbi Vai, the shaki shichra, bain bante tafla. Rabbi Vai likes to drink, his minhag is to drink pechar, like beer, and his daughters do as well. They have a little bit of beer. And then what? Mimela, his daughters need that treatment. Because why? Rashi says whoever drinks beer, he gets like a lot of hair, becomes hairy, even women. So if a woman drinks beer, it causes her to be hairy. So Mimela, they needed the anti-treatment. Shkoich. Anad, the loshetin shicha. We don't drink beer. Loba and Bantan Tafla, our daughters don't need the tefela. In other words, you can save yourself money and not go to the laser treatments and to the waxing treatments if your daughter Pasha has the right diet, if she has the right kind of diet. For example, not drinking beer, then Mimela, you won't need the treatment. Your daughter Lechatchila would look good and smooth. That's the idea here. Okay, let's say there's times though for girls to drink alcohol is a big shaila. A woman is only allowed to drink alcohol if her husband allows her in the presence of her husband. It's not it's ignoring ksubas daf amudalif, I think. Yeah. So basically that's another sugya. For women and alcohol is very not pashut. But that's chutzpah. In the family, she can have together with the family. If the father watches her and he allows her to drink that and this and that amount. Otherwise, no. That's besides the point. Rabbi Yehuda Oimer. Kedei losud kilkul. Okay, what does that mean? I told you there are three opinions. Let's revise. What does the Mishnah say? Tanakama says, how much seed are you not supposed to, how much seed if you take out your chayev? We said, lasud, the little girl's pinky, right? The youngest girl that comes to an age that she does it. According to Rashi, it's a girl, but just about puberty. According to Tosfos and Shidduchim, right? And it's the pinky, okay? And according to Rav Yehuda said kilkul with a kaf, and Rav Nechemia says andifi. If you don't know what's kilkul and what's andifi, you're in great company, because the Gemara doesn't know it either. We're going now to explore and discover what's kilkul the chaf, not with the kuf, not kilkul destruction. Yeah, my kilkul, my andifi, the Gemara. What are these strange words? Omar Rav, sid'a ubas sid'a. Let's explain nice and slow. Kilkul, which is what Rav Yehuda says, is the tzeda in modern Hebrew too, is raka, is a temple. Over here, right? I don't have much hair. The women have a little bit too much hair. They want to remove it. The woman may have hair over here, like continuation of the hair of the head hair, right? And that she doesn't want. She wants to remove that, and that is kilkul. And that's Rav Yehuda. And that's a lot of hair. And that says Rashi, she doesn't even remove. She wants lashkiv. She wants to make it smooth, like gel. She wants to smoothen it, and she puts seed to like smooth it back. So it doesn't go into the front of the face, it looks backwards. Now, the andifi is bas tzida. And andifi is the extra hair over here. Women have like the beginning of the like a beard, a little bit over here, and that's less. A little bit of hair over here, that's the one removed. They want to remove it, and that's called bas tzida. Now, the temple is bigger than the bas tzida, than the lower temple over here. That's a lot of hair, that's a little bit of hair. So really, Rabbi Yehuda's shear is bigger than the one of Rabbi Nechemia. Rabbi Yehuda says this big one. Rabbi Nechemia says that little shvanzalach over here, the small one. That's Rabbi Nechemia. Fragt the Gemara, lemeimra de shiura de Rabbi Yehuda nafish? Is that true? Is that so? Are you really telling me, Rav, that Rabbi Yehuda's shear is bigger than the one of Rabbi Nechemia? Right? It's more of a kula. Right? Rabbi Yehuda says the big spot over here, and not the small one. And Rabbi Nechemia is machmir, even just the small one. So Yehuda is asking for a bigger shear, which is a kula. Is that so? A kaimalan, what we saw yesterday, the shiur de rabbanon nafish zut the nafish, which means we saw in the Mishnah that Rabbi Yehuda is more machmir, as we said yesterday. When it comes to gemi, it comes to the reed, to the small flexible reed. Chachamim said enough to make a hole like a hanger, like the hook of the whatever that was the how do you call it, the sieve. Yeah, the sieve, the hook of it. That's more. Rabbi Yehuda was more machmir. He said to measure the feet of the youngest kid who needs shoes. Yes, kids may need shoes already at the age of 1.5, very small feet. Rabbi Yehuda is more machmir. He says no. Some people use that reed to measure the little one's foot. That's already. Oh, so Rabbi Yehuda is more machmir. How come here is more mekel? He's saying a bigger shear, and there in the Mishnah he said a smaller shear. Rabbi Yehuda kivyochel is not consistent. Is he always looking for the bigger shear or the smaller shear? Right? Rabbi Yehuda has to be consistent, because again, everybody knows that all these things are flying around. Some people use the gemi for what? One guy would tell you, I use the gemi for the thief. The other guy, no, I use the gemi for my children. The question is, how do Chachamim view it? Do you go with the more machmir or go with the more mekel in halacha? Where we draw the line? Rabbi Yehuda seems to be drawing the line more lechumra, the smaller shear. And here, when it comes to the women's hair, is being more mekel for the bigger shear. Answers the Gemara, simple answer. Answers the Gemara, zuta midarabanon v'nafish midar b'nechemia. Very, very, very simple. It's smaller than Rabbanon, consistently so, and bigger than Nechemia. Let's summarize. It's going to be as easy as anything. What did Chachamim say? The little finger apparently is bigger than the temple, and the temple is bigger than a few shvantzalach over here. So very good. Rabbi Yehuda is consistently more machmir than Rabbanon. Rabbanon both in gemi with the children's shoes, and over here Rabbanon are most mekel with the biggest shear. Here it's the whole finger, the entire pinky. The entire pinky is bigger than the temple. Rabbi Yehuda is more machmir than Rabbanon. He says the temple. And Rabbi Nechemia is even more machmir, and he says a little bit of hair over here to remove is also very good. So everything is consistent, and you have big, medium, and small. Very pashut. Now, Meisivi. However, here comes the question. You have to understand, when we say that this is the kilkul means this, and Andifi is this is only according to Rav, who's an Amoira. Now we're going to challenge Rav. It's not like the Mishnah said it. Rav is explaining the Mishnah. Now we're going to challenge Rav's explanation and translation of the terms kilkul and andifi from a Bryson. Bad news. Meisivi, we're asking now on Rav. We're challenging Rav's words. Omar Rav, Rav himself is talking. Oy vavoy. Nirin divra Rabbi Yehuda bechovut v'divra Rabbi Nechemia bebeitz hasid. Let me explain. Chovut means the plaster that's completely beaten, which is completely watery. And it's liquidy, it's runny, mixed with a lot of water. That's chavut. What's lachbot? To hit, to beat. It's all beaten up, like in Spanish, batido. Right? It means all beat like milkshake, all shaken, all mixed together, very runny. And beitzas asid means it's thicker, and the viscosity is more like that of the dough. That's what it says in the Rishonim. Oh. Says Rav, I'm reading again. Nirin divrei Rabbi Yehuda, I agree with Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda's words seem to be logical bechovut. When it comes to the temple, it makes sense to say that for the temple, what you need is something more runny, more like watery. Rabbi Nechemia bebeitzas hasid. And Rabbi Nechemia is right. Yeah, I agree. Halacha is like Rabbi Nechemia. If the seed is a type of plaster which is thicker, like bitza. Bitza is a marsh. Yeah, is a swamp. It's more it's thicker. Now, So what's the problem? It's a problem. Why? If you really think Kilkul and Andifi are the temple and the hair below the temple, Idi ve'idi chovut, both of them require, you ask any cosmetician, she will tell you both this and that, they both require the watery one, the more runny one. So it does make sense. So your translation does make sense because we see there's a difference between the, right, that according to Rav, it makes sense. Rav spoke about the thinner one, and excuse me, Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Nechemia, the thicker one, the thicker one. And if they talk about this and that, both should be thin. So obviously, your explanation of this and that is wrong. Must be kilkul and difi something else. Ela Omar Bitzchak, Amr Dever Rabbi Ami. You know what's andifi? A andifa. A completely different. Let's get out of the words of cosmetics. Andifa, says Rashi, is a kli. Yeah, you have a kli for wine, and it has two openings. Yeah, two openings. Where are we, guys? Pei Amud Beis, the third wide line. Is that so? Pei Amud Beis, third wide line. What's Andifa? Andifa is like Pe. Andifa is double mouth, which means you have a barrel of wine, like a small jug of wine, and it has something very cool. It is, so to speak, it has like an opening in the top and an opening in the bottom. You decide which way to open it, yeah, and drink the wine. Well, it's very dangerous that it's going to leak from the bottom. So the bottom you have to seal with what? He guessed right, with seed. With seed. And how much seed? Andifi. In other words, that's called andifi. So that's a whole different world, which means, let's now retranslate. According to the current explanation, Rabbi Yehuda remains the same. Rabbi Yehuda said that Kilkul is the temple of the woman, and she wants to make it lie over here, to make it stand over here, like, like that. And therefore, and that is the shear for that, and for that you need the thinner one. And Rabbi Nechemia spoke about the one which he used in order to seal the bottom of the wine jug, the jug of wine, and that's the shear for the seed. Maskif Rav Kahana attacks that and says does make sense. And Paros is something very, very expensive. Would a person make his money, would waste his money, throw away his money? Says Rashi, with all the respect, it sounds nice, but it's not. If you have a jug of wine and the way that it's sealed underneath is plaster is porous. It's a breathing material. The wine's going to drip. The wine's going to trickle out. It's not the right way. It doesn't make sense. We're talking about that. Elam of Kahana, that's a final answer to explain Andifi of Rav Nechemia. Shnosois. What shnosois? Shnosois basically is what your wife uses in the kitchen, and lahavdil they used in Beis Hamikdash. I can tell your wife she's working in Beis Hamikdash. Yeah, basically shnosois is, how do you call it in English? Grades or marks, right? You have like a cup in the kitchen with many grades, milliliter, 5 milliliters, 10, right? Or you work by ounces, I don't know. Yeah, right. These are called shnosos. Those marks are called shnosos. And what were they made out of? Well, you mark them, but in order to make them white and stand out, they're marked with, guess what? With seed. So Rav Nechemia requires smaller shear than the tzad. Rabbi Yehuda stays the same all the time. How much seed you had if you took out? Enough to take care of your daughter's thing over here, the temple, to make the hair lie like that, be invisible almost like that. And Rav Nechemia says even a smaller shear to always mark and remark and always repaint the grades in the kli, in the jug of whatever you have, and that is marked with teeth, with the seed, and that's the chiyuv on that. Kedetnan, and we see what's used in Beis Hamikdash. Shnosois hoyu behin. You know that different korbanos require different amount of shemen. So we're in a few places. We had it recently. We had it, if I'm not mistaken, in Parashat Shlach at the end, at the middle. Shnosos hoyu behin. There was a hin. Hin is the measurement of 6 log. That is the measurement in the Mishkan. Ad kan lepar, ad kan le'ayr, ad kan lekeves. A par, if you want to bring the nesochim of the, excuse me, I meant wine. It's also true what I said, oil that's mixed with the menachos. But also the wine that you bring together as a nesech, together with nisuch, together with a par, with a bull, has to be half a hin. So then you have a mark right in the middle of the hin. What about the middle one? Then you have chatzi hin, you have shlish hin, and reva hin. A third for the aisle and a quarter for the keves, right? And therefore, because these are used, all three of them, the keves has a quarter, the isla is a third, and that is what you use the what's his name? That's what you use the according to Reb Nechemia. This is commonly used enough by regular people as well that if you took out seed just to have those three marks, let's say, or however marks it's normal to have in your kitchen schnassois, you took out those, not a lot. It's a few marks here and there. Although Rashi says that it used to stick out a little bit. Belitos kemine goizim ktanim. It wasn't just marked; it was a bit of like a, like a half a circle, like a small egos, a small knot sticking out. So it's not just a nothing, but it's still, I guess, according to the Gemara, it's smaller than the raka. Because Rabbi Nechemia says the smallest tree is the most machmir, and I guess we'll stay with that. Okay. Okay, yes. It says shnosis in plural, so I guess it's all three, the choira. That's what I think for the Lashon. And it's still, I guess, smaller than the temple, the choira. I assume tachnira, I don't know. The boy sema, one more pshat for andifi, which is going to last. My andifa, you know what andifa means? Aputa. Aputa means basically the forehead of the person, and we're back to women's business, which means some girls, they just want to have, although hair doesn't grow on the metzach, on the forehead, on the andifi, however, some girls want to have the metzach done to look redder. As I told you, the other purpose, if they put seed over here, it looks red, not shiny. It looks nice and shiny and nicer, yeah? For the shidduch, it's good. So now, bichi, and if a person took out the amount for the metzach, on that is chayav, according to Rabbi Nechemia. I find it very hard to understand at this point. The metzach is bigger than the raka, as far as I know, unless I'm missing something. Maybe it's part of the metzach, or maybe we gave up with the pshat from before. But in my balbatish mind, the raka is maybe both raka is bigger than the metzach, because we said that Rabbi Nechemia is the smallest shear, and now we're interpreting Rabbi Nechemia's andifi to be the forehead. The entire forehead is bigger than the raka, so I'm not sure. Just one line you need, right? Reb David the Goynisha, very good. By the hair, you need a lot of it because you need to smooth it to make the hair light, to make the hair straight. You need a lot. Here, just to make it look a little bit red, you need a small amount. Very nice, very nice, very nice, very good, beautiful. Pshia. Now, how do we know that a puta? Apparently, the Gemara sometimes uses new words that are even new for the Gemara. Yeah, we never knew that andifa means the forehead. We're going to prove now from I saw the Achronim to say from a Sefer Agadata that tells us that really there's like a how do you say, a certified Agadata, which we know is right with all the words, and in that Agadata, andifa is the word for forehead. Let's see the story. There was a man from the Golil, from Eretz Yisrael, from the northern part of Eretz Yisrael. The Ikla Bavel, he came to Bavel. The Omrule, the Bavel people told him, "Come, get up." The they wanted him to teach very deep, important secrets of Kabbalah. The Ma'aseh Merkava, it says Ma'aseh Merkava, it says the Mishnah in Chagiga, you only teach one-on-one in a very secretive, discreet way. And all of a sudden, the whole tzibur is asking, "Give us a drasha, Ma'aseh Merkava, Kabbalah Center in Los Angeles." Yeah, everyone can learn the Ma'aseh Merkava, lo aleinu. Listen to what happened. Omar lehu and rosh lehu, no problem, I'll do the job. Just like Rabbi Nechemia gave the drasha of Merkava to his friend, singular, so too I'll give a whole drasha in Tzibur. I'll even go online. Yeah, I'll give a drasha to the whole Tzibur, Ma'aseh Merkava. You know what happened? V'nafka araisa, came a hornet, min koisel, a hornet came from the wall, umachte bandifi, she stung him in the andifi, the star of the show. Where? What's andifi? In the forehead. Yeah, the meat, and he died. Wow. They said about him, min delay dole. From what he did, he deserved. In simple English, he deserved it. In other words, he wanted to reveal Hashem's secrets, and therefore the tzira came, the hornet came, and killed him straight away, because that's not something you're supposed to tell the entire public. Yeah, no, some parts of Torah, Mefosha Mishnah and Chagiga and Rambam and everywhere, not everything can be taught to everybody. Also, alliance, you can't teach everything to everybody. People have to be selective about what they teach, and that was the Einish. I don't know, I haven't seen the Malshah. I actually did look here, I didn't see anything in the Malshah. My idea that comes, I was inspired by you to say Chidushim. The metzach, you know it's metzach. Metzach always represents chutzpah. Azus metzach. Ki metzach isha zoin hoyoloch. And the tzitz, what's the tzitz mechaper? On azus metzach. The Gemara Nechin Tesvov. Yeah, the tzitz. Why metzach against metzach? The metzach is like la cara, right? What's cara in Spanish? Chutzpah. Like he has a face. Like yeah, he has a. Oh, so maybe that's he had a chutzpah, so it was bitten here against his chutzpah. What chutzpah? To be open. I have no inhibitions. I do what I want. I can dress with. I'll say any time, anywhere I feel like. The rabbis are not going to tell me. He had the chutzpah to be too out there, too much in your face. Excuse the pun. So the tira hit in descarado. That's in Spanish. We're going to learn Spanish here too. Yeah, and therefore the chutzpah is in the metzach. Maybe that's where I got it. Baruch Hashem. I just thought about it now. It's all this course of the Kol Kodosh and Ma'am Loez. So basically, yeah. So one thing we know, since this is a certified Agadita, I saw that in Achronim, that's what I explained. This Agadita is known to be a true Agadita Meduyak, and you know that the word Andifi there, we always know by oral tradition, it means Metzach. Now we know Andifi means Metzach, forehead. That's Pshat in Achronim. I saw it Blaise Moshe Horowitz or somebody. Says the Mishnah. Next Mishnah, we hope to finish the Talmud today. Adama. How much? Now Adama here, says Rashi, is like red kind of Ozila, is a red kind of, you know, the red thick kind of terra rosa. Well, dirt, yeah, earth. But what kind of dirt? I know, you know that the dome is earth. The kind of dirt, the kind of earth, which you know is earth, right, is the red thick one. Adama, what do you use that kind of Adama for? Enough to seal the martzufin. That's martzufin, not partzufin. Martzufin is also mentioned in Bava Basra in the Mecher Sasfina. Martzufin are something very interesting. Sacks, they use bags, big bags, they use in boats. In boats, in ships, you know, import, export, they always used to, by Zvulun, right? So there are special thick kind of big bags, import, export kind of bags, not what you buy in the supermarket with. And the choisam, they would be sealed, yeah, to make sure nobody steals, to have the trademark, whatever. The sealant of the seal of the martzufin would be made out of this kind of earth. For some reason, there was a strong big one to hold that. If you took out the adoma in that amount, you chayiv. Now, diva bi'akiva. The chachamim oimrim ki choisam ha'igros, much less. Chachamim say the seal of the letters. You have a letter, important letter from the notary, the lawyer, right, till today, right? You seal it with like wax. So then you used to seal it, according to Chachamim, with that kind of earth. Yeah, the seal was made out of this kind of earth to seal the letter, which is much, much less. A big industrial bag is much bigger than a small lawyer's letter, right? And therefore, Mechlekes, Rabbi Kiva says the bigger, Chachamim the smaller. And we're going to see the same concept again, Zevel v'choladak. Zevel is fertilizer. Excuse me, this is animals' gook, animals' dirt. The choladak is the thin, runny kind of sand. How much? Enough to be mezabel, enough to fertilize and treat one kelach, one head of cabbage, according to Rabbi Akiva. Remember, we said in Daf Ein Tes Amud Aleph, to start sowing the seeds, I only take 5 or more. But once I already have a kelach of kuv, a cabbage head in the making, in the growth, it's kedai to invest. So I would take enough zebel to just fertilize that one. A whole cabbage head is a lot, right? However, Rabbi Kiva again is being lenient. He's saying the bigger shear. While the chachamim are mean kedelazabel krisha, chachamim say no. Enough to be mezabel. I think krisha is in English leak. What does the article say about krisha? Leek, I think it's leek, you know? It's a leek. Baruch Shekivan to the art scroll. Leek is smaller, apparently, where it's the contact point with the ground, smaller than the cabbage. And the Chachamim are more machmir. They say, since some people grow leeks, krisha, and they treat them, so if it's a smaller amount, you're already chayiv. So Rabbi Kiva is always on the more makel side. Okay, it's consistent. Now, cholagas as opposed to cholgas is thick sand. The thicker kind of sand, how much are you chayiv? Kedelitin al meloy kaf seed kone of the seed, which means seed. Sorry, excuse me. Cholagas kedelitin al meloy kaf seed, punto, which means what do you use the thick sand for? You mix it with the seed with the cement. Yeah, it's good for the cement. Seed is plaster. Similar to cement, it's plaster, the seed on the wall. If you mix it with thick sand, it's good. It sticks better to the wall, and it's good. So if you took enough whole gas, thick sand, to put on the calf, on the shovel of the sayadim, of the workers, that's already good enough. You're chayiv on that. That's normal. Kone, kone is a reed. How much you chayiv if you took from a reed to the Reshus Harabim? Kedelasos kulmus, to make a kulmus, to make the writer, the soifer stam, is a kulmus. Sometimes the kulmus would be made out of, different things. This kulmus is made out of what? Kone. It was normal to take a reed, cut it the right way, a very special way of cutting, fill it with ink, and you have the kulmus. Okay? So that's commonly used by soifer stam. Every other person in the neighborhood is the first time, right? So it's commonly used. Now, let's say that kone is too thick, or it's too merusas, means it's full of cracks. It's too cracked up. The kids say you can't use it for the soifer's quill. You can't use it as a quill. It's either too thick, not nice to use, or it's full of cracks all over. Then what do you use it for? Let me explain. Enough to cook. In other words, what do you do with wood you can't do anything else with? Before electricity, use it for your cooking, facilities. Cooking what? We always have to be machmir. If you want to cook a lot of meat, and the meat is just out of the freezer, takes a long time and many, many pieces of wood, a lot of wood to cook it. But we're going for the minimum. What is the smallest thing that takes the least time to cook? Yeah. And therefore requires the least amount of wood. And that you're already chayiv. Because we're machmir. What is that thing? Apparently, it's a chicken's egg, like the eggs we have, already mixed up with oil, and therefore the oil is going to make it quick, or actually fry even quicker. It's mixed with the oil, and also the oil is made out of is inside. The pan. It's inside the pan, and I saw the Rashash says the pan is made out of iron, and iron is something that gets hot very, very quickly. You have all the conditions to quick like a microwave, very, very quick, and therefore you need the least amount of wood, and on that amount of wood, boom, on that you're chayav. Because we go for the least. Unless you have other opinions. It's very common to eat eggs, and this is something which you need wood for. If that's the wood you used, you're chayav already. For its all. He's not cooking. He took enough it's a simon, even if he's not going to cook. But the amount that people normally cook with, that's a simon. That's an indication that amount is choshev enough for people, and on that you're already chayav. ¿Está bien? Rabbi Akiva, yes. It is bigger than the kulmos? I don't know. Anilo Yodea, I don't know. The question? I have a feeling that it's smaller. I think it's smaller. But I'm not sure. Says the Gemara, Al Meloi Kaf seed. Yeah, we said how much of the thick sand you chayev if you placed it on the shovel of the seed of the guy who does the plaster, the kablan, the painter in your house. He has a seed with a shovel, enough to put there tana, but the price is more machmir. Kedelitin al pi kaf shel just by the edge of the shovel. You put enough seed over there and enough sand to mix with the seed. That's already normally used by the sayodim, or that's already chayav. Frak the Gemara now. Mantana the chol mali lesid. Who bechlal came up with the idea that chol, the thick sand, is good for seed? We're assuming that sand, thick one, is good for the plaster to mix it and paint the wall. Who said that's good? It's Rabbi Yehuda, and this Gemara in the Shemaim is very, very apt for the 3 weeks, because we have all kinds of halachas to do with remembering Korban Beis Hamikdash. It says in the Gemara, this is, by the way, the last page in Cheskas Sabatin, Daf Samech Amud Beis. It says in the Brisa, Lo Yosud Odom is Beisa Besid, Elim Ken Irav by Teven Ochol. Says Tanakama. We all know that you're supposed to leave Amal Ama, right? Amal Ama empty, without seed, without the white plaster. There's another solution. I'm not going out to all the halachic details. According to what we said there in the Gemara, you're not allowed to bichlal have your house. That's not the lochel ma'isa. You can't have your house all nicely done with white, shiny plaster, like after she puts, No, you always have to make sure that your seed is a little bit darkish and dirty and ugly. Therefore, you mix it with teven or chol. So chol is something not so good for the seed. It makes it uglier, right? We in the Mishnah assume that the chol is good. Now Tanakama says that the chol is not good because it makes it look not nice. I think I know what you're thinking. Yeah, but there's a red herring here. Let's leave it for now. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, teven mutar, chol osu mipnei shu traksi. It says Rabbi Yehuda like this. Teven, you're allowed to mix with it. You're allowed to mix the teven with, it's even good. It's good to mix the teven with the teven is, I didn't mention, I'm sorry, teven is, is hay. To mix a little of hay with the seed, this is something which is even recommendable. It makes it ugly, but to mix it with sand, you're not allowed. Why? If they should track seed is good seed because it sticks very well. You're having high quality seed, so don't use it after the times of Beis Hamikdash. As opposed to my colleague Tanakama says, Rabbi Yehuda, I believe that it's good for it, just like our Mishnah. The Mishnah follows Rabbi Yehuda. The seed mixed with thick sand makes it good, sticks very well to the walls. Mashmar Mishnah follows Rabbi Yehuda, not Tanakama. So the Gemara, no. Rabba Amar, no. Afilu tema Rabbanon, even according to Rabbanon, it's still true what the Mishnah is saying. Kilkuloi zeu tikunoi. The kilkul is the tikkun. The bad is really the good. As I thought, maybe somebody was thinking already, there are two different functions. There is beautiful and there is strong. The two opposite things. Everyone agrees, including Tanakama, that if you mix it with the oiled gas, it's going to stick very nicely. But Chachamim say, very good. You're allowed because it's ugly. It's stronger but uglier. It's not a stira. So both Tanakama and Rabbi Yehuda agree that really it's very thick and it sticks very well. Chachamim say, shkoyach, because it's ugly, it's good to use it. Rabbi Yehuda says, no, because it's more functional, it's going to be long-lasting, you shouldn't use it after the Korban Beis Hamikdash. The question is, should you look at beauty over functionality? But both opinions believe that functionality is good. It's going to stick well into the wall when it's mixed with the thick chol, and that's what the Mishnah is saying. So according to Rav, our Mishnah follows everybody. The other Machlokes is, Tanakama says that because it's ugly, Adrabah, use it. It's better shmetter, but it looks fich, and therefore it's good to use after Churban Beis Hamikdash. Lamaisa, they say you can have your house nicely done, as far as I remember, with very white plaster, as long as you leave Lama empty. In front of the entrance, you leave one amma by one amma without any plaster, just bare concrete. It looks ugly. I know people don't like it, but that's the idea. It should look ugly. We should remember the chisaron of Beis Hamikdash, the 3 weeks. What? Really? I didn't know that. Wow. Okay. Wow. We're running out of time. Thank you for saying this. Kone kedelasus kulmus. Tana. How much kone you chayev? If it's lasus kulmus, Tana kulmus amagia lekishret voisov. How big is a kulmus? How big is a piece of string? How big, how long, how tall is the writer's quill? I assume there are different sizes. So it says until it reaches his knuckles, the knuckles of his fingers. What does that mean? By Ravashi, kesher elyon or kesher tachton teku? Are we talking about the upper kesher, the one over here? Some people like to hold the pen, like till over here, or the middle one. Teku, we don't know. We don't know how big should it be, up until here, up until there. Shaila. Tana. Now we're talking about the corner that's too thick or too cracked up, and therefore it cannot be used for the writer, for the scribe. You can use it for the fire. For what? The smallest piece of food that cooks the quickest. Tana trufa b'shemen v'nesuna be'ilfas. As we said, the egg has to be mixed up with oil that hastens the cooking, and it's already ready in an iron ilfas, in an iron pan, so it's going to cook very quickly. Mar Breder Ravina asked his son, what kind of beitza is the easiest, quickest one to cook? There are many kosher birds. Which one? The dove, the turtle dove, the chicken, the swan, which one? So Omarle biata the tziltzala. The egg of the tziltzala, tziltzelis, is a type of bird. Today it's also called tziltzelis. I guess it's a kosher bird. It's a very small bird. My time, Mishum de Zutra. It's such a small bird with a small, tiny, cutesy egg. Because it's the smallest egg, it takes the quickest to cook. Says, no, Ema de Tzipata. If you go by size, there's even a smaller one. A tzipor, a small bird, whichever one, is even smaller than that. Yeah, so if you go by the size of the bird and the egg, why don't you mention the Tziparta? Ishtik, he didn't know. The son didn't know what to answer the father. So now the son is returning the question to the father. Did you hear anything about it? I don't know. I failed the test. Do you know about what's the smallest, quickest egg? The regular egg you have every day, the beitza of the chicken. Why is that called beitza kala? It's not the smallest one. Chicken eggs are not the smallest. Why is it beitza kala? Chachamim measured, estimated. It's not the smallest, but it's the quickest to cook. It cooks the quickest. It's most susceptible to cooking. No other egg cooks quicker than Betzas Tanagolas. Now, Frag the Gemara, you really need an entire egg. All Shura Shabbos of food, we saw in Daf Ayin, have to do with Gilgeres. Here it's a Beitza. Gilgeres is less than a Beitza. All of a sudden you move to a Beitza. What happened to Gilgeres? Enough to cook a Gilgeres size taken from the Beitza of the Tanagolas mixed up with the oil. מהר. זה שיעור של אוכל לכל עניינים, גם להוצאה, גם לבישול, גם למה שאתה לא רוצה. כן.